Hey, let me share it first. Just for a while, a little bit. And let's have our monitor here. So it's a continuation for our JMS. Ito. Oh, excuse me. Date and time. July 9. Is that July 19? 17. And it's already 11. It's not extend. It's 10. 10:52. 10:53 p.m. Okay, we're live. Let's go. So while sharing, let's continue building it. Okay. So we're done with the head. We'll be going with the its arms. Arms. Hello, Dana Elvera. Good evening. Thank you for watching. Okay, for those who wants to be shout out, please comment down there so that I can know that you are there. Okay. Share it. Copy link. So we need D2. I think this is D2, right? That's D1. Oh, we have gold. D2 8. 8. So we have two of these. Hello, good evening. Beta 8. Oh. Oops. So let's have a multi-build. Ayaw kitang pilitin kung di ka pa handa. Sa susunod na lang. Kaya mabuti pang. Okay, so it's okay because this part will go deep down within the parts. But be careful not to chip the gold paints within the upper layer. I'm sorry. Okay. So this then A1 2 is A1 2 A1 2 2 so 2 is where's that A1? Oh, excuse me. Huh? Okay, this. Okay. Eh? Lo. Careful. So, ito lang. Tama ba? Yeah. Okay. So, dito pa. Oh, ay mayroon pa pala sa taas. Yung pagkain sa... Hey. Kaya't ikaw aking ibig. Tukusan na dalawang ating ko pinilit. Hello! Laging nariyan ka, di maalis. Pilit na. Kaya ginamit natin ng pinagbabawal na technique. Kasi medyo masikip siya. Oops. Pumasok ba lahat? Dapat pasok lahat eh. Oh. Kaya shout out to Team Kabuo. Sino mga Team Kabuo na nag-watch ngayon? Shout out. Ano to? A16. So may partner to, diba? 6 and 5 to man. Nope. John Vincent Amadori. Shout out to you. Crunchy ah. Yes po. Crunchy po. Anong crunchy? Crunchy sa pag-snip or crunchy sa pagkagat? Madali lang siyang i-snip kasi naka-ano siya eh. Naka-undergate. Oops. Shoutout to Pinoy Gunpla. To Pinoy Gunpla. Shoutout sa inyo po. Salamat po sa pag-allow na makapag-post po dito. Then shoutout po then also sa Hobbyist Ground or the HG group. Okay, bagong group lang to for gunpla builders and other kind of building pa na mga model kits. So if you're not yet a member for this one, you can join the HG. May mga din dyan, mga gunpla vloggers. So baka gusto nyo, hanapin nyo lang HG or you can find it as Hobbyist Ground. Kami may guild, may community, may association. Ngayon may ground na naman. Oh, na-post na pala. HG, ano ba? May pending post pa pala ako sa kanila. Need natin ng PC3. PC3. Ayun. Dalawa. Sana dalawa ang puso ko. Hindi na sana nalilito kung sino sa inyo. Sana Dalawa ang puso ko. Oops. Tinamaan ko naman ang camera. Ayan. New members. Hindi na ba si Mang Jeff sa andito na? Siguro na-approve na. Okay, na-approve na pala. Thank you. Ngayon, okay na. Hold na tayo sa TikTok, men. Para meron tayong pinapanood. Kasi i-charge ka din tong ano ko. Joe Black. I am death.
Yes. Thank you. This is crazy. You're not going to eat dinner with us? No, I am eating dinner with you. And your family. And that is what we're doing. It's not open for discussion. Nothing is. Don't you understand? Yeah. Good. I'll lead the way. And call my family. I'd like them to have dinner with me tonight.
Didn't the family get together last night?
Jennifer.
Of course, Mr. Parrish. Right away.
Perhaps you'd like to wait in my office. What I'm trying to say is this is a board meeting and you're not a member. I'm sure you'll find a way to make it all right. Nice to meet you. Morning. Thank you. Eddie? This is Joe Black. He's a personal associate of mine and hello, Quince. Hey, he'll be joining us this morning. I know this is unusual and my apologies and carry on.
It's nice to see you. Didn't expect you, but certainly you can't get enough of a good thing.
Thank you. Joe, would you like to sit down? Okay.
The Board of Parish Communications is hereby called to order. Our sole order of...
Hello, Sir John Ventura. Hello po. Good evening and welcome to the live. Just ask questions if you have some question about the build. Okay. Just ask. Comment lang po kayo dyan.
Business today is an acceptance of John Bonacue's generous offer. And
Bill want these delicious cookies. The jelly ones. And a cup of tea. With milk, I think. I'd like to try it English style. Yes. A cup of tea with milk, please.
Is there anything else, Mr. Black? How about some water?
Why, yes, thank you.
Hot or cold?
Cold.
Any glass? To review, we're really crossing the T's and dotting the I's here. Bill had a great and conclusive meeting yesterday with John Bonacue, and all that remains for us is to put it to a vote.
Thank you. Drew, yeah. I did enjoy, or rather I was interested in meeting John Bonacue yesterday. And, impressive.
How's the plastic quality?
I suppose.
It's okay. But just be careful. Just be careful with the gold one because it's crunchy. Crunchy, the term is crunchy because I will try to snip it with this runner.
See, I started in this business because this is what I wanted to do.
A little bit fragile. So be careful with that. But the other parts is okay. There are also some fitting issues, just like this one in the shoulder, which I try to slice some parts in order to fit it here. The peg hole, the rectangular peg hole is very small, contracting to the peg that we have here. So slice a little bit, make it a little bit smaller so that it will be more fitted on the peg, square, not square, but rectangular peg hole. And yeah, even it's not also too much aligned, so I think you need to push it a little bit with some, yeah, right there. So it's fitted now, and we can fit it here. Yeah, That's it. So just a little bit tweaking so that we can put it inside, or we can fit it.
Ooh, that's nice. And I didn't spend all day building it. Ooh, that's nice. And I didn't spend all day building it. Ooh, that's nice. And I didn't spend all day building it.
Yun.
I worked in a society for many years. These valleys are all life-size, like real soldiers.
In 2025, scientists finally solved the Terracotta Army mystery, and it isn't good. What they discovered beneath the surface stunned the archaeological world and left even mainstream commentators like Jesse Waters asking, why is no one talking about this? For decades, the site in Xi'an was seen as a monument to ancient history, but new findings have exposed a disturbing truth hidden in plain sight. Toxic elements, buried secrets, and an emperor's obsession with eternal control. This isn't just history, it's a warning. And once you hear what researchers uncovered, you'll never look at the Terracotta Warriors the same way again.
51534.
The discovery that changed everything. In the spring of 1974, a group of farmers digging a well near Xi'an made a discovery that would shift the world's understanding of ancient China. At first, it looked like nothing more than broken pottery. But as officials investigated further, what emerged from the dusty earth was a scene unlike anything ever seen before. Rows upon rows of life-sized clay soldiers, all standing at attention, frozen in time for over 2,000 years. These figures weren't scattered fragments. They were warriors. detailed down to the folds in their robes, the strands of their hair, and the intensity in their eyes. Some stood ready with crossbows, others held swords or spears. All of them faced east, as if still guarding the emperor they were created to protect. Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor to unify China under one rule. As archaeologists dug deeper, the scale became almost unbelievable. For 2,000 years. These figures weren't scattered fragments. They were warriors, detailed down to the folds in their robes, the strands of their hair, and the intensity in their eyes. Some stood ready with crossbows, others held swords or spears. All of them faced east, as if still guarding the emperor they were created to protect. Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor to unify China under one rule. As archaeologists dug deeper, the scale became almost unbelievable. There were not dozens or hundreds of these figures. There were thousands. Infantry, archers, chariots, cavalry, even generals, each one unique. The sheer ambition of it suggested a ruler obsessed with control, power, and life beyond death. This wasn't just a tomb. It was a military empire replicated underground. Soon it became clear that this was just one part of a much larger complex. Beneath the hills surrounding the site, ground-penetrating radar revealed an enormous necropolis stretching over 38 square miles. Somewhere at the center of it all was the unopened tomb himself. According to ancient texts, that tomb was a marvel of engineering, said to contain palaces, rivers of mercury, and a ceiling embedded with pearls to mimic the night sky. And yet, it remained untouched. Despite the technological advancements in archaeology, Chinese officials refused to open the emperor's tomb. On the surface, the reasoning seemed noble, a desire to preserve what remained until excavation techniques improved. But as time passed, questions began to rise. Really waiting for? What were they afraid of uncovering? In the decades that followed the discovery, teams of researchers and scientists carefully excavated different pits surrounding the tomb. What they found wasn't just artistry, it was precision. The statues were built with standardized molds, suggesting some form of ancient mass production. Their weapons, though buried for centuries, were still sharp, with little to no rust. The bronze blades had a strange sheen to them, as though they had been chemically protected. This caught the attention of metallurgists, who found that many of the weapons had traces of chromium, a substance rarely seen in use before the 20th century. How had artisans over 2,000 years ago discovered a method to coat bronze weapons in chromium to resist corrosion? The find baffled scientists and pushed many to wonder what other lost technologies the Qin dynasty had developed. Meanwhile, researchers measuring the soil composition around the tomb detected something even more disturbing: abnormally high levels of mercury. It matched descriptions from ancient records that claimed the emperor's tomb was built with rivers and lakes of the toxic element, designed to mimic the geography of China. But these weren't just symbolic metaphors. The levels detected were real and dangerously high. What was once seen as a display of funerary honor began to feel more like a hidden agenda. What kind of man builds a fortress underground, fills it with warriors, and surrounds himself with poison? 50 years after its discovery, the Terracotta Army continues to be one of the most iconic and mysterious sites on Earth. But in 2025, scientists would find something buried deeper than clay.
I worked in this site for many years.
Something that could change how we see this marvel forever. Something that, as we'll see, might not be as glorious as it first appeared. Uncovering the untouched zones. Even after decades of research, the Terracotta Army continues to offer more questions than answers. The three main pits, pits 1, 2, and 3, only represent a fraction of what's believed to be hidden beneath the ground. The warriors, as impressive as they are just the outer defenses of a much larger, more complex tomb. At the center of it all lies the burial chamber of Qin Shi Huang, a a place so shrouded in legend and danger that it remains completely sealed to this day. Most visitors to the site see the neatly arranged lines of infantrymen in Pit 1, where over 6,000 soldiers are positioned in battle-ready formation. But fewer people know about Pit 2, which was long considered more fragmented and difficult to interpret. That changed in 2024, when a series of new excavations led to a discovery that sent shockwaves through the archaeological community. A rare, high-ranking general figure, larger than the others, with ornate armor, a distinct top knot, and posture that radiated command. This was not just another soldier. This was someone important, and he wasn't alone. Alongside the general were several armored officers and a small cavalry unit, arranged in what appeared to be a coordinated tactical group. The layout wasn't random. It suggested strategic planning and mirrored the kind of hierarchy one might find in a real Qin military structure. The team studying the pit believed they had uncovered a representation of a battlefield in miniature, frozen in clay, led by an elite command. But there was something else about Pit 2 that was even more troubling. Soil samples taken from the site revealed elevated levels of toxic materials. Not just mercury, but arsenic compounds and strange mineral deposits not native to the region. At first, scientists thought this was the result of natural contamination or even preservation techniques. But when cross-referenced with similar samples from other parts of the necropolis, a pattern began to emerge. It wasn't just the tomb that was surrounded by poison. It was the army itself. Researchers began to suspect that the entire outer zone may have been engineered with deterrence in mind. Not to honor the dead, but to warn off the living. The air quality around some dig zones, especially during the hotter months, fluctuated in dangerous ways. Workers reported dizziness, nosebleeds, and fatigue.
Ooh.
Some had to be hospitalized. Authorities downplayed the incidents, attributing them to heat or stress. But internal reports told a different story. Meanwhile, satellite imaging and ground-penetrating radar continued to expose new pockets of structures beneath the Earth. Unmapped corridors, sealed chambers, hollow vaults with shapes that didn't match known formations. One area east of Pit 3 appeared to hold a grid of underground rooms lined up like bunkers, with metallic signatures that couldn't be explained. Yet none of them had been opened. Despite the growing pile of data, Chinese officials remained cautious. The public narrative stayed the same. The emperor's tomb would not be opened until technology was advanced enough to prevent damage. But the truth was far less reassuring. What archaeologists and scientists were learning in real time was that they might be dealing with more than just an ancient tomb. They might be looking at a massive, carefully constructed trap. One researcher privately described it as a deadly museum, a place that wasn't just meant to preserve history, but to punish anyone who dared to disturb it. By late 2024, rumors were circulating in academic circles that several research groups were beginning to connect the dots. The elevated toxicity, the unusually well-preserved weapons, the strategic layout of the army, and now, the discovery of high-ranking figures in key zones. Something didn't sit right. And with new excavations scheduled for early 2025, a breakthrough was just around the corner. One that would finally crack the case wide open. But as we'd soon learn, the answer wasn't what anyone hoped for, what the warriors were hiding. By early 2025, the Terracotta Army was no longer just an archaeological marvel. It had become a puzzle that modern science was racing to solve. Between the ancient texts, the unexplained toxins, and the nearly supernatural preservation of the artifacts, one thing was clear. Something was being hidden in plain sight. The warriors weren't just standing guard, they were guarding something. Several research teams from China, Germany, and the UK began cross-examining new core samples taken from various pits, especially around Pit 2. Something that could change how we see this mark. They weren't just testing the soil anymore. They were isolating the composition of materials used in the statues, weapons, and even the pigments that once covered the figures in bright color. What they discovered changed the way experts viewed the entire site. The most disturbing finding wasn't the mercury, though levels were higher than anyone expected. It was the chromium, Again and again, the weapons from the pits were found to be unusually rust-resistant. Researchers confirmed that a thin layer of chromium oxide had formed on many of the bronze surfaces. At first glance, it looked like the Qin dynasty had discovered a method of chrome plating nearly 2,000 years before the process was invented in the West. But deeper analysis revealed something different. The chromium didn't come from the weapons themselves. It came from contamination in the environment. The soil around the warriors had interacted with underground water and other chemicals over centuries to create this accidental preservation, which raised a bigger question. How did so many weapons in such a tightly packed area receive the exact same environmental treatment? It looked almost intentional. Further tests exposed something else. Buried deep beneath several of the figures were sealed ceramic canisters, never documented, never disturbed until now. One of them, located under the foot of a broken archer, contained residue of what scientists believe to be an early form of arsenic trioxide mixed with cinnabar, a mercury-based mineral. These aren't burial offerings. These are chemical compounds. The theory started forming. The Terracotta Army wasn't just a ceremonial display. It was a mass-scale chemical deterrent system. The weapons weren't just there to protect the Emperor in the afterlife. The soil, the layout, the toxins. They were designed to preserve, protect, and most of all, repel. There was one internal report, leaked but never publicly confirmed, that proposed an unsettling possibility. The Terracotta Army may have been an early form of chemical trap, rigged by engineers of the Qin dynasty to make sure the Emperor's resting place was never disturbed. Not by robbers, not by enemies, not even by future dynasties. Over time, the poison seeped into the soil, and the preservation of the warriors was just a byproduct of the death zone they were buried in. In a way, it worked. But there was one more piece of the puzzle that pushed this theory towards certainty. Using ground-penetrating radar, one team detected an underground shaft stretching east of Pit 2. It was lined with what appeared to be ventilation ducts, or at least their ancient equivalent. Why would an underground tube need airflow? The most likely answer is chilling, to allow chemical vapors to disperse evenly, to turn the entire burial site into a self-contained toxic zone. Suddenly, all the secrecy made sense. The hesitation to excavate the main tomb, the carefully controlled access to new pits, the silence from authorities every time a new health scare emerged. This wasn't about preservation, it was about safety. The Terracotta Army was no longer just a monument to one man's ego. It was now something far more unsettling, a symbol of obsession, a warning to the living, a message encoded in clay and poison. And as the data piled up, scientists knew they were on the edge of a reveal the world wasn't ready to hear. A shocking discovery. In March 2025, a sealed report from a joint Chinese-European research team was quietly circulated through academic channels. It wasn't meant for public release, at least not yet. But as always, someone talked. And within days, the headlines began to leak across obscure science forums and archaeological dig blogs. The words were blunt, unsettling, and repeated with increasing urgency. Scientists solved the Terracotta Army mystery in 2025, and it isn't good. The full report, later confirmed by multiple sources, revealed something far more disturbing than speculation or legend. According to the team's findings, the Terracotta Army wasn't just an honor guard. It was part of a deliberately designed chemical defense system, engineered by order of Emperor Qin Shi Huang himself. The goal? To create a zone so toxic, so unforgiving, that no one, not looters, not rivals, not even future archaeologists, could safely enter his tomb. The presence of mercury had been known for years, but the levels measured in early 2025 were staggering. In multiple test sites, mercury concentrations were hundreds of times higher than the global average. Worse, it wasn't limited to just the soil. The vapors were active. They weren't just testing the soil anymore. They were isolating the traces were found in the ventilation shafts, in hollowers, even in some of the recovered terracotta. In short, was poisoned, and it had been for over 2,000 years. But mercury was only part of the equation. In the same report, scientists detailed the discovery of a chemical cocktail never before documented in ancient contexts. Arsenic compounds, trace levels of lead, and mineral stabilizers formed what researchers described as a long-term containment matrix. The more they studied it, the clearer the picture became. This wasn't a fluke of nature. It was a formula, and it was buried with purpose. "This is shocking," one of the lead analysts wrote. "We came in expecting symbolism, ritual, maybe even superstition. But what we're looking at is intentional chemical engineering, a burial site weaponized against time itself." The implications were chilling. The soldiers weren't just there to protect the emperor in the spiritual sense. They were sentinels, standing guard in a battlefield of toxins.
Grabe na.
The layout of the pits, the sealed chambers, the underground airflow systems, all of it served one grim function: to deter anyone from getting too close. Emperor Qin wanted to rule in death as he had in life, and he built a system to make sure of it.
Ah.
The reveal sent a ripple through the archaeological world. Some accused the team of overreach, of pushing modern fears onto ancient practices. But the data was too consistent, the findings too specific. Even Chinese authorities, usually swift to shut down speculation, didn't deny the report. They simply refused to comment. Suddenly, all the hesitation to open the tomb made sense. For decades, the excuse had been preservation. That disturbing the tomb might destroy fragile artifacts. But now the real reason had surfaced. Opening that tomb wasn't just a risk to history, it was a risk to life. The public was never supposed to see that report, but it got out. And once it did, the Terracotta Army transformed in the eyes of the world. No longer just an awe-inspiring testament to craftsmanship, it became something darker, a reminder that even in ancient times, power came with paranoia, and that one emperor, bent on immortality, might have turned his own tomb into a death trap. Scientists solved the Terracotta Army mystery in 2025, and it isn't good. The site wasn't just sealed for preservation. It was sealed because opening it could unleash something we're still not prepared to face. Fallout and silence. The global response to the 2025 revelation was swift and divided. On one side were scientists, historians, and archaeologists who hailed the discovery as a breakthrough in understanding one of the most enigmatic monuments of ancient China. On the other were officials, preservationists, and skeptics who feared what this knowledge might unleash. The Terracotta Army was no longer just a tourist destination. It had become a potential biohazard. The first action came quietly. Several researchers involved in the study were asked to suspend fieldwork temporarily. Some were reassigned. Others simply stopped responding to interview requests. The Chinese government, which had long maintained tight control over the site, began limiting access even further. New permits for excavation were paused. Media coverage, which had flared briefly following the leak, began to dwindle. But behind closed doors, the conversation continued. Environmental safety experts were brought in to review air quality and ground toxicity. According to leaked internal documents, some areas near Pit 2 were marked with hazard ratings, not because of active danger, but because of what could happen if dormant vapors were disturbed. The term used in one translated report was delayed exposure risk, suggesting that centuries-old chemical traps could still activate if pressure or temperature changed within the soil. What truly frightened experts wasn't just what had been buried, it was how deliberately it had been done. The coordination between architectural planning, underground airflow systems, and chemical layering pointed to a level of strategic engineering that didn't belong to superstition. It belonged to someone who wanted absolute control of what happened after he died, and who might have viewed death itself as just another battlefield. The idea that Qin Shi Huang weaponized his own tomb shifted how people talked about it. He was already seen as a ruthless unifier, responsible for mass construction, heavy taxation, and brutal governance. But this discovery painted him in a new light. A ruler so obsessed with control, he didn't stop at building an empire in life. He created one in death that could never be. Traces were found in the ventilation. For nearly 2 millennia, one of history's greatest mysteries has haunted.
I work in the society for
Yes, vitamin E, 7 years. That's
That's how long the next ombudsman will hold office. Longer than the current president's term, and deep into the first 3 years of the next administration. But if that ombudsman is Boying Remulla, Secretary of Justice, who openly said he submitted his application to the Judicial and Bar Council, let's not kid ourselves. This isn't just a legal appointment. Ito ay posisyon ng kapangyarihan. The ombudsman is meant to be independent, a constitutional check, the one office that must hold the corrupt accountable, regardless of position, party, or power. But when a political insider steps into the seat, the lines begin to blur. Katarungan ba ito o gantihan?
Oo.
We've seen how justice can be twisted when allies are protected and critics are punished. That's not public service. That's political warfare dressed in legal robes. Our hope is simple. Huwag sanang gamitin ang ombudsman bilang sandata ng pamumulitika. Let it remain what it was meant to be.
Correct.
A guardian of integrity, not a gatekeeper of power. Because when the last watchdog is silenced, sino pa ang magbabantay sa mga bantay? Another day,
Another
another
regal.
regal.
POV.
POV. 7 years. That's how long the next ombudsman.
A man eats for the first time, but he swallows the spoon along with the rice. Because in his eyes, the spoon tastes better than the rice. As it turns out, the man has awakened the lowest tier ability, metal manipulation. Yet he can grow stronger by consuming metal. In his previous life, Tong Yi became the Steel Emperor through relentless effort. With a wave of his hand, he could command countless arrows and destroy all enemies. But in the end, he still died. At the hands of the humans he had protected for 10 years, in his final moments, his eyes were filled with regret. He never expected that humans would ultimately be destroyed by humans. If only he had discovered the method to grow stronger earlier, could he have saved the situation? His wish seemed to receive a response. When Tong Yi opened his eyes again, he had returned to the year he joined the military. In this world, all who awaken abilities must serve in the military. The unit was being punished by their commander for losing 9 bullet casings. Those 9 casings had already been consumed by Tong Yi, whose metal manipulation ability was rated as the lowest F class. It would be years before he discovered how to use his ability, transforming from F class into the mighty Steel Emperor. Currently, he could manipulate 300 grams of metal, with 10 minutes remaining until digestion. When lunchtime arrived, Tong Yi's unit finally finished their punishment. But something strange happened. All the spoons in the cafeteria had mysteriously disappeared. While Tong Yi stared at the spoon in his hand, drooling. The next second, he devoured it with relish. Metal absorption, 12 minutes remaining. After absorption, controlled metal weight will increase by 1.25 grams. Tong Yi looked resigned. At this rate, how long would it take to reach his previous power level? His gaze then drifted toward the distant watchtower. Was that the only solution? 3 days later, Tong Yi could perfectly control a dagger. And tonight was his night watch duty. Tong Yi slowly approached his comrade on guard. Park Jun Mao, do you trust me? Park Jun Mao looked bewildered, but replied, I trust you. I've detected metal movement. I'll go investigate while you stay here on guard. Remember, don't report this to headquarters. Meanwhile, near the unit's encampment, a portal appeared with goblins tumbling out. Suddenly, a dagger flew through the air, piercing straight through a goblin's body. The attacker was Tong Yi, who had come to investigate. I
Kaso
never
wala ni
thought I
Dam.
was so happy to see you. These 3 days and nights
Oh, ya, una lang dito gamay.
the goblin stood up and spat a mouthful of yellow
Dili
fluid,
lagi.
then charged toward Tong Yi in just a few
Kamot ra
strides.
kung
It
tiwaso
seems
na
I'm
rira.
still weak at level 1, but I don't like doing things twice, Tong Yi. Just as the
Oh.
goblin approached,
Sige
Tong
na.
Yi swiftly controlled the dagger to pierce the goblin's throat. A bright red stone dropped from the goblin's body. Tong Yi immediately stuffed it into his mouth. You absorbed otherworldly magic steel. Expected increase in grams unknown. After absorption, your magical power will increase. The remaining goblins were startled by this action, staring wide-eyed. But only Tong Yi grinned like a predator. Consuming that thing would make his path much easier. The next second, he charged into the goblin horde. The dagger under his control precisely severed the goblin's tendons. Tong Yi didn't finish them off, wanting to use their screams to lure the goblin chieftain. Just then, a goblin seized the opportunity to launch a sneak attack. Tong Yi spotted it and controlled a greatsword on the ground, quickly knocking the weapon from the goblin's hand. Then his dagger flashed, severing its head. Another piece of magic steel dropped. Tong Yi ignored it and glared with rage. I was once stabbed in the back. Anyone who tries to ambush me, I'll eat them alive. These vicious words made the goblin shudder.
But Tongyi remains vigilant, knowing the Goblin Chieftain was hiding nearby. To draw him out, a man eats for the first time, but he swallows the spoon along with the rice, because in
You can ask the flower.
Excuse me. Name an animal that starts with the letter F.
I am Angie from the ADS agency, and I am at the balance of the agency daily job. I hope I'll see you guys.
Hey! You out of here now! Now! Not one more word out of you!
Any laws, I just wanted to help someone who couldn't afford help. Today, I went to mow the lawn for an 80-year-old widow. She lives alone, on a fixed income, and her front yard had grown wild after weeks of heat and rain. She told me the city had already warned her. Clean it up or get fined. Thing is, she can't afford to pay the $300 the city charges to cut it, so I offered to do it for free. I'd barely gotten halfway through when 2 police cruisers pulled up, lights on, doors swinging open. One officer steps out and says, "You need to shut that mower off now." I was confused, thought maybe they were checking in. But then he told me I was trespassing and under investigation for unauthorized property maintenance.
Huh?
I pointed at the lady standing on her porch, waving frantically. She asked me to help, I said. She gave me permission. They ignored her. One of them told me the yard fell under a municipal code that made it restricted property because of pending fines. The woman kept pleading, trying to explain, but they wouldn't listen. One officer handcuffed me right
Sobrang
there
ano.
in front of her. Turns out the local department offers a paid lawn service, and if neighbors or charities step in for free, they interfere with city business. I sat in
Because
the back of the cruiser, watching that poor woman cry on her porch. I wasn't charged. They let me go later with a warning. But they told me next time it would be a citation for disruption of municipal process. I'm going back this week to finish the job before they find me, even if it means getting arrested again. If you want to hear what happens next, just type "stand up" in the comments.
Nanood ka.
Hey! You out of here now! Now!
Oo nga no. May mga inaanad eh no.
They gave me hell in Allendale, and so I say I'm staying with 6 inches on it.
Yeah, this family here reached out to me and asked me if I could help them get their overgrown lawn taken care of. As I was mowing the property, I had a little situation with one of the neighbors. Once I get to the front yard, you can see the neighbor kind of in the background, standing on the sidewalk, just watching me mow the front. Once I got done mowing, I went to go put the mower in the trailer, and then that's when she approached me and told me that I didn't do a very good job. She also told me that the homeowners wouldn't be happy with me because she was sure that they were paying me good money to do this job. At first, I didn't know what she was talking about, so I asked her, I said, what are you referring to? And she had pointed at some grass in the front yard that I had missed. That's when I just politely told her, "Ma'am, I'm not done yet." And then she kept going on and on about how I left grass, I didn't do any trimming, and all this stuff about how bad of a job I did. I said, "These people aren't paying me. I'm doing this for free to help them out. Not done yet. But I understand you're looking out for your neighbor." I said,
Kasi yung mga ano, bantayero.
They gave me hell in Allendale, and so they gave me.
I didn't break any laws. I just wanted to help someone who couldn't afford help. Today, I went to mow the lawn for an 80-year-old widow. She lives alone, on a fixed income, and her front yard had grown wild after weeks of heat and rain. She told me the city had already warned her. Clean it up or get fined. Thing is, she can't afford to pay the $300 the city charges to cut it, so I offered to do it for free. I'd barely gotten halfway through when 2 police cruisers pulled up, lights on, doors swinging open. One officer steps out and says, "You need to shut that mower off now. I was confused. Thought maybe they were checking in. But then he told me I was trespassing and under investigation for unauthorized property maintenance. I pointed at the lady standing on her porch.
Grabe no.
Me leading up to when this neighbour comes out and absolutely abuses me. I did have permission to come in here and clean up the mess that I had made on their property by his partner. And as you can see, I'm literally here for about 15 seconds, just giving him a quick blow. He wasn't happy because I touched his gate, and he's come out and given me a serve. I don't appreciate that, especially because I'm in here trying to help his community, the housing community, and bat for them and get changes to their system. And all I tried to keep telling him when he's yelling at me is, buddy, you're on camera to millions of people probably watching this, so take it chill.
Then shut the fuck and do not talk shit! I will break your glasses with my bare hands. Do you understand me?
Today I grabbed my mower, went to mow the lawn for an 80-year-old widow who's been living by herself. Since her husband passed away 15 years ago, her yard had become overgrown. Grass rising high, weeds swallowing the walkway. She no longer had the strength to manage it herself, and the city had already issued a citation. Take care of the lawn or face a hefty fine. On her limited income, that would have been a crushing blow, so I stepped up. Not long after I started, the piece was interrupted. A neighbor from next door approached, visibly upset. Her body language and tone made it clear. To prove it, she questioned why I was there, insisted I was out of line, and seemed more concerned with control and appearance than care of community, despite the homeowner quietly trying to explain.
This one's all boarded up. I wonder what happened. There's poison ivy all over the front porch here. Dangerous building, keep out. This building has been found to be unsafe or dangerous by the Office of Central Inspection. This notice is to remain on the building until it's repaired or demolished in accordance. Yeah, it looked like it caught on fire. There's a bunch of black trim and looks like it's burned. I think we'll get this one cleaned up though. Hey everyone, Spencer here with SB Mowing, and I found this house where the edges of those just go to the front yard and just look. So I went up to the front door and put a note, gaming is dangerous by the city. I did end up speaking to the neighbor next door, and she told me there's a fire inside a while ago and that it will eventually be torn down. But it's going to be a long time until that happens, so until then, I thought I would make the front yard look better for the neighborhood and scoop all the growth out of the curbs to improve the drainage for the entire area. So if you haven't done so yet, be sure to click that follow button for me, as it's the best way to support this work that I do. And be sure to stay until the very end of this video to see the awesome before and after pictures. Anyways, I hope you'll enjoy this one, and I'll see you next time.
Iba pa naman yung pero okay ba pag sinuko pa yung gin bulat. Pag sinuka mo yung umi-stop. Yung beer yung gin pag sinuka mo. Nakita ko na lahat ng iba-ibang klaseng tao. Di ba? Yung mga iba umiinom ng hindi namumulutan. Yung iba talagang hindi umiinom, namumulutan lang. Yung pulutan yung iniinom Pulutan nila yung alas, yung pulutan yung iniinom Pare, magtira ka naman, pinsan ko talagang hindi nalalasing. Walang upuan yun Pag nalalasing, gumagano lang yun. Walang sandalan yun Pag nilampasan mo ng tagay, takin yan. Okay, kuya, lasing ka na. Mga Pilipino pa naman, inom talaga pagkalalo pag libre. Oh, inom! Talagang susundutin pa yan This
His family was so poor that even a single banana had to be split among 3 people. The older brother gave the largest piece to his younger sister, then handed the middle piece to their mother. The mother hurriedly said she didn't like bananas. Seeing this, the son threatened her. If she didn't eat it, he would throw the banana away. Only then did the mother reluctantly agree to his request. Ever since her husband died unexpectedly years ago, she had been raising the 2 children alone, struggling to get by on his meager pension. A few days ago, her eldest son accidentally injured his leg at school. With no money for supplements or nutritious food, she gritted her teeth and bought a single banana, just to give him something better to eat. After learning about her grandson's injury, the grandmother rushed over to the house. She sized up the room critically, then found an excuse to sit in front of her daughter-in-law.
When humanity introduced themselves to the galaxy, there was a shock. While new and weak, they shared a great resemblance to an extinct ancient race that had posed a galactic-wide threat. The moment a human stepped into the galactic reception hall, every alien in the room gasped in terror as if they'd seen a ghost. Chancellor Vex Thul of the Altarian hegemony, a towering crystalline being whose species had ruled the galaxy for millennia, actually stepped backward. His harmonic voice cracked as he spoke. Impossible. They were destroyed. We watched their worlds burn. What's wrong? Crane asked, his translator rendering his words into dozens of languages simultaneously. Have I violated some protocol? The silence stretched unbearably. Then, from the back of the hall, an ancient keeper of records shuffled forward, a being so old that most species considered his kind living myths. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of eons. You are the image of the Harbingers. Crane's blood ran cold. In all...
Tanong ni Mami Joy, saan po ilalagay ang name ng bata at paano? Mami, kapag nag-check out ka ng may tracing and activity workbook, may makikita po kayong add note or leave message bago mag-check out. Diyan po natin iiwan ang pangalan ng ating mga anak para mailagay natin po dito sa workbook. May tracing and activity workbook natin, all-in-one, 6-in-1 na. Meron na itong name tracing, alphabet, letters, numbers, lines, colors, and shapes. Ang maganda pa dito, hindi...
Hello. Marami pong nagtatanong kasi sa akin, saan napupunta ang mga taong namamatay? For those people na bago lang po dito na hindi alam kung ano ako, nakakakita po ako ng mga bagay na hindi nakikita ng karaniwang tao. Pinanganak po ako ganito, hindi po ako nag-aaral kung paano gawin ito. Talagang ganito na lang po ako. For the longest time since I was very young, I never talked about this because my family, my grandmother and my grandfather especially, told me not to talk about it. Kasi normally, katatakutan ng mga magulang ng kapitbahay, kung bata ka pa, kapag ka nagkasakit ang mga anak nila, maaaring pagbintangan ka na yung kausap mo o yung kalaro mo ang siyang dahilan kung bakit sila nagkakasakit. So, to make a long story short, tinago ko po yan. Lalo na po nang mag-artista ako, of course. Hindi pa. Di sabihin ng mga tao, something's wrong with my head, kung whatever. Now, since it's all out in the open, and I'm not the only one who's, I'm sure I'm not the only one who can do this. Kaya nagsasalita na po ako ngayon kasi panahon na, iba na talaga. Marami nang bukas ang kaisipan, marami nang bukas ang third eye, marami nang nakikita mga bagay na hindi pang karaniwan, na alam na ng mga tao na totoo.
So we're done with the hands.
Ang dami pong comments, ang
Now
dami
let's
pong
try.
nagtatanong sa akin. Anong nangyayari? Saan nagpupunta?
Wow! Ang ganda!
Ang ikukwento ko sa inyo, yun lamang pong nakikita ko. Pero may isang bagay na dapat ninyong
Grabe yung ano, no?
na alam
Grabe yung articulation niya, men. Kita niya yan. Grabe. Maabot dito. Tapos, pwede pang itaas yan. Astig. Astig niya. Okay. So, hanggang dito lang muna sa ngayon. It's already 12 here. It's 12 midnight here in the Philippines. So, yeah, I need to rest because I still have a morning work. Yep, may trabaho pa ako sa umaga. Ayaw ko nang lagyan pa ng black dyan. Ayaw ko nang sirain yung gold. Ang ganda na ng gold, kaya never mind. Maganda naman siya tingnan eh. Okay? So, for the gold parts, we have now the V-fin, the part here at the neck part, or within the shoulder and torso part. Here also an exhaust here on the torso or in the chest, and then here at the side of the shoulder. Yeah. So kaya pala familiar siya na na build ngayon, kasi nakagawa na ako no ng ngayon, build Mark to build basta yung yung spare na unit ni Sayori sa Gundam Build Fighters. Uy, sorry, tamaan mo naman yung camera. No? Tamaan ko talaga tong camera ko dito. Okay, so yeah. So that's it for tonight and for early morning. So ayan, kaya tayo, lagay ko dito para makita nyo ulit. Ayan. Ito na yung kamay. So, tanggalin ko na to para makita nyo. Ayan o. Yung, ganda tingnan, men. Ang ganda. Okay. As in, I enjoy building it. Ngayon lang ako ulit naka-build ng Gundam. So, I'm thinking na next time is, iba naman, di naman Gundam. Hindi naman yung mga main units. Kasi, minsan nakakaumay din eh. Kaya nga ako nag-stop sa pag-build ng ibang Gundam, ng Gundam units. Kaya ano na lang, yung mga mono ay muna. Tapos, try ko din yung mga less yung panel line. Ito naman, merong panel line. You need to panel line it to let that parts pop out, those designs or those details. Kita nyo yan. So, need yan ng panel line talaga. Kung wala yung panel line, hindi nyo masyadong ma-appreciate yung details niya. Kahit dito sa likod, pwede nyo ding lagyan. Ayan o. Yan, nilagyan ko rin yan. So, medyo hindi ko nga nakalinang masyado, pero maging okay naman siya. Pero I think pwede siyang lagyan kasi dito. I think shield or something, sword or ano ba, cannons. So, it's a peg hole na I think you can customize it na makakalagay ka ng something dito. Tapos sa likod naman, ayan, meron pang peg hole dyan. Merong rectangular and something, ganyan, no? Tapos, circular na peg hole 4D backpack. Okay, so, maganda. As in, ganda niya. Hindi siya yung yung typical na color white na Gundam. Ang ganda ng refreshing siya kahit Gundam unit siya. Kasi gray siya, tapos black yung iba. As in, ibang color talaga. Kasi sa alam ko kapag yung Mark II lang talaga yung i-build mo. This will be white, this would be blue, something blue, this will be yellow. So it's the usual I think ito rin eh. Ito magiging yata to eh. Blue to yata or black. I don't know, I forgot. The BFN is red. Tama ba ako? Nalimutan ko na. I think meron tayo dito eh. Meron tayo ditong kulay. Itong kulay. Teka, ayun, no, yan. Okay, black din pala to. Black, something dark blue. Tapos ito pala mga color blue dito is red. Tapos itong mga gold talaga is color yellow siya. So, yun lang. So, need lang natin na, na kulayan. Meron kasi ibang parts na dapat kulayan talaga. Okay? Or need ng stickers. Just like this one. Ito alam ko sa shield to eh. Yan, no. So kaya pa lagi siyang is familiar siya kasi nakapag-build na ako ng build ngayon strike build, di ba yung isa. So ito is siya Mark 2 build Mark 2. Yun ba yun yung name niya? Okay. So much for that. Ito yun. Ang ganda naman. So much better if hindi masyadong black yung panel line na gagamitin mo. Much better kapag something gray. Nilagyan ko lang yung need lang talaga ng panel light. Yung mga hindi na masyado, hindi ko na nilang nilagyan. Kaya para hindi naman mag-over yung niya, yung panel line natin. Okay? At kahit bootleg siya, fake siya, makita mo naman na yung detail niya is talagang deep. Okay? Clear yung mga details, so hindi siya hindi yung pareho sa mga titihong noon na parang nawawala na yung deep ng details natin. And just like at the face part, kita nyo naman yan dito sa may vent sa side. And then meron pang maliit na parang vent dito sa malapit sa faceplate. Nandyan pa rin. Siguro ko sa mga earlier na mga yan, na mga Gunpla, siguro nawawala na yan. Okay? So, yeah. So, ayun. Maganda siya. So, tomorrow maybe I will have another live. Maybe Pero I don't know, hindi lang ako makapag-promise sa inyo na makakapag-live talaga ako agad. Kasi meron akong mga dapat gawin kasi meron kaming pupunta na convention for this week. So I think yun yung unahin ko. So I need to make some merchandise for that. Pero I will really try to finish this because kailangan ko tong matapos before kami pumunta ng pumunta sa convention na pupuntahan namin. Okay? So, I hope you enjoy the live here. And para sa mga hindi nakapanood, please go to the replay at makikita nyo yung mga natin, yung mga ibang live pa natin. Okay? So, check natin yung top fans natin. Uy! Tatlo pala sila. Sino to? Screenshot ko muna yung mga mga ay! Teka. Ayun. So, shout out to Sir Johnny Johnny X87X. Ma'am ba to? Yeah, parang babae. Ay, babae nga. Ma'am Dana Elvira 4621 and Sir John Vincent Tamad. Tamad yung lumabas dito eh. Sir Vincent, ano to? Amadori. Vincent Amadori. Okay. Kasi lumalabas ito yung mga at nila eh. Okay, so again, shout out to Sir Jan Ventura, which is Johnny X87X. Ma'am Dana Elvera 4621, and Sir John Vincent Amadori at John Vincent Amadori. Okay? So, maraming salamat po sa pag-watch ng ating live. Maraming salamat po. Okay? So, again, thank you so much and that's it for now and I hope you enjoy the show and enjoy the live natin. So, if you like this kind of videos and contents, please do consider to like, share, comment, subscribe. Please hit that notification bell para ma-inform po kayo sa mga susunod pa natin na mga videos. Okay? So, I can talk to English and also in Tagalog if you want to. Okay? So, just tell me what are the language na magiging comfortable po kayo. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much. So, good morning. Yeah, it's already morning. Good morning, good noon, good evening, and good night. Jack De La Paz signing off. And Gamba Bird Show signing off. And this is our JMS HG-1144 Mark Gundam RX-178 Gundam Mark II. Ganda, no? Sheesh. That's it. Thank you and peace out. Oops. Bye.